everybody. As mentioned, my name is Rohhan, product manager here at Chainlink Labs. A large part of my role involves working with the Chainlink node operators, which I am very excited to do because node operators make up the backbone of the Chainlink network. And really, they are one of the foundations of DeFi and blockchain ecosystems as a whole. For example, a lot of people sometimes forget, but if you are using a decentralized application like Aave or Synthetics that uses real-world data, what you're really doing is using one of hundreds of decentralized Oracle networks that behind the scenes are composed of node operators like the ones that you see on stage today. This is, of course, not just for Ethereum, because Chainlink is a blockchain-agnostic protocol, but it's for a variety of layer 1s and layer 2s, everything from Solana, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, and more. These node operators are distributed across the world, and they're made up of a variety of different types of teams. We've got everything from community-focused organizations that work just on Chainlink, all the way up to enterprise-level institutions. The one thing that they do have in common is that they are made up of the best blockchain DevOps teams in the world. So with that, I'm very excited to chat with our panelists today, and I'm going to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Jonas. I'm co-founder of Fiews. We're a blockchain connectivity provider and Chainlink node operator. And we've been a Chainlink node operator since Chainlink launched on mainnet, so since day one.
Yeah, hi, my name is Tobias. I'm from T-Systems MMS, which is in the grand scheme of things a subsidiary of Deutsche Telekom, which is the largest European telco company.
I'm Peter. I'm a co-founder of Chainlayer. We're a staking service provider and Chainlink node operator, and I think we joined a few days after Fiews.
Hi, I'm May. I'm the head of product marketing for developer tools and infrastructure at ConsenSys. ConsenSys is the parent company of Infura, Truffle, and Diligence, all of them some of the best developer tools along the software development cycle.
And I'm Zale. I'm the founder of Northwest Nodes. We are a community node operator based out of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So I'll be asking a couple questions. First ones will be tailored towards specific node operators, but of course, everybody is encouraged to chime in and answer up. And then we'll have a couple open-ended questions. I want to start with Tobias. So all of us here at the conference and working in Web3, we really believe in the power of blockchain technologies to have a large-scale positive impact on the world, and of Chainlink Labs and Chainlink Protocol to enable end-to-end trust-minimized applications. But it's really exciting to see a non-crypto native organization, such as T-Systems, not just acknowledge this fact, but also decide to jump in and kind of work in Web3 as well. I'd love to hear from you firsthand, what is it about Web3 that made you want to get involved, that made T-Systems want to get involved, and what is it about Chainlink that made you want to start with us first?
Yes, so we are like right now a team of around 30 people within T-Systems working on the whole blockchain stuff. And we are very excited about the ownership part of Web3. So it's like the read, write, own part of the web, of the internet. And the ownership part utilizes blockchain technology. And yeah, Deutsche Telekom, telco provider, infrastructure provider at heart. Of course, then like the next big thing might be supporting public blockchain networks through infrastructure. This is what we have been trying to do since a few years.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that you guys are on Web3 because it gives so much more legitimacy to what we're all doing. People like Zale and me and Fiews, we've been around for a while, but having big companies join into Web3 is just so exciting.
I mean, yeah, I can only give the compliment back to you guys. You are doing like a really great job and also providing some very nice open source code, which we use also internally. So yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, great, and exactly as Peter said, we really, I think, appreciate the acknowledgement and kind of legitimacy that you guys bring to the table. Next question I have for May. I think ConsenSys Infura is very well-known node operator, kind of blockchain RPC provider in the space. Any Web3 developer who has tried to build something has at some point in time either used Infura services or definitely knows about them. You guys have been running successful blockchain nodes for so long. Why get started now as a Chainlink node operator, and what role do you see Oracle's having in the ecosystem?
100%. Thank you so much for that great introduction. Infura, as you know, is the first node provider in the Ethereum ecosystem, and we've seen tremendous growth over the past 6 years to more than 400,000 registered developers in our platform. Why now? Because we want to move from being an Ethereum shop to a multi-chain ecosystem where we build wherever developers are. In the past year alone, we've been able to successfully expand support to more than 11 networks, and Chainlink and Infura go way back. Right? We've been very lucky to be able to support the growth of many big companies in Web3 like MetaMask, Chainlink, Maker, as well as many other companies like Polygon. So I think at this point in time, we think that the next step for Infura is to move towards progressive decentralization. And I think that there is no better model for decentralization than Chainlink. I was very excited yesterday to hear from Sergey about the new staking feature. And that's something that definitely, as we build out our own decentralized infrastructure network at Infura, that we want to learn from. But as to your point about oracles, I think oracles are extremely important in the ecosystem, right? I think not only do you produce and provide price feeds, which is a great proof of concept, but I'm also really excited to hear about all the other use cases from Chainlink, like weather data, data for gaming, DeFi, across all of the different use cases. And that's something that's very, very core to what Infura is. We want to be able to power more than just DeFi across all of the different kind of applications on blockchain. So I think the long answer to that is that we want to learn from Chainlink, we want to be a part of the ecosystem, and we want to keep building towards progressive decentralization.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much as well for the kind words about Chainlink. So I think we've spoken to just now 2 very large, well-known organizations. One might get the impression that you have to be this huge organization to get involved with Web3. But that's really not the case, right? Anybody who has the skills, the dedication to perform on a world-class level consistently is able to be successful as a Chainlink node operator. I think a prime example of this is Northwest Nodes. They were a team and organization that actually came from the Chainlink community, wanted to become node operators, competed against dozens of other teams in the Oracle Olympics, won first place, and now you guys are servicing price feeds on a couple different blockchains. So love to hear about the journey of how you got started from the community and then kind of coming up through the Oracle Olympics, and now what's it like working with all these great organizations?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty wild ride. We've been part of the community since 2017. We've always been very excited about the technology. It was actually SmartCon last year when we were watching, and we realized that we really had to go for it and just try to run a node and just really try and take part in the ecosystem. So it was, we kind of just dove in head first, tried a bunch of different things. We were fortunate enough, after SmartCon last year to just get part with some of the hackathons that were going on, keeping track of some of the new projects that were happening, and being able to work with a few other node operators to just help people test out some projects and some new things. And that gave us a chance to really kind of learn a lot and fill out our systems, our monitoring and everything, and really get us kind of prepared for the Olympics. The Olympics themselves were a phenomenal experience as well. I mean, we didn't know what to expect, of course, but we thrown into the deep end, and it really forced us to improve everything that we did from all aspects of the company. So it was fantastic. I mean, like you said, there was dozens of other really high-quality teams on there, and so we were, fortunate enough to be able to come away winners out of that, and just keep going. And so it's been really, really awesome. And after that, getting on the price feeds with some of these, guys like Fiews and Chainlayer were really inspirational to us as well, where, we saw that you could be a community node operator and you could just come up and start serving price feeds. And then, working with big companies like T-Systems has just been phenomenal. But the beautiful thing about it is that everyone is incredibly collaborative, incredibly helpful. Everyone's really working together, and we all understand that as long as all of our individual systems are improving, that the network will be stronger, and that we'll all be better off for it. And it's incredible coming on the backs of these giants where Chainlink has had 100% uptime since inception, which is something that I don't think people quite realize how important that has really been, and something that you guys all over here and at Chainlink Labs deserve a lot of credit for.
Yeah, I just want to say to congratulate you on winning the Oracle Olympics. I know for a fact how hard they've made it for you. We've had a lot of fun about knowing that the things you were going to get. And it's amazing to see you guys on board now. You've been amazing since you've joined. It's really good.
Yeah, thank you.
You mentioned something I think about monitoring and alerting. I want to just dig in on that a little bit. And you talked about the uptime for Chainlink, the protocol. One of the things that was really exciting and we were quite impressed by is sometimes we hear in other organizations something happens, there's an issue, and people don't notice for a couple hours, couple days, sometimes a couple weeks. When we had incidences, if there was a price feed deviation, any service went down, you guys were able to detect, identify, and report it in less than 60 seconds, which is like super impressive. Could you talk us through what your monitoring alerting stack looks like? How are you able to accomplish that level of monitoring?
Yeah, so I think we do have a bit of a unique monitoring system. But really, at the end of the day, a lot of the systems all do similar things. So it's really just a matter of being able to dig down into the logs and understand which things you need to be able to monitor and alert on. And so for us, it was, we spent, months trying different things, different services, and just really finding out what works for us, which I think was a big strength for us, where we weren't happy just kind of doing what other people were doing and kind of doing the common thing. We wanted to really find what really worked for us, and then, so in terms of the, being able to alert quickly, it just came down to setting very, very fine alerting mechanisms where if we detected any sort of anomaly in what we were doing, then, we would alert on it. And so now, for our, when we're serving price feeds, we've managed to kind of fine-tune those alerts and monitors so that they're not firing when they shouldn't be, but we're also pretty sure that we're able to catch just about everything that happens. And the nice thing is as well, with a group of also excellent node operators, everyone can talk together. Hey, are you seeing this as well? This is what we're seeing, and so you can always find out whether it's a problem with your system or whether it might be something a little more external. So.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that insight.
Yeah.
I want to talk now to Jonas and Peter. When we think about Chainlink OGs, really what I think about is folks like you guys. You've been around for multiple years, since the very, very beginning. I think you've kind of seen it all. The challenges, you've seen the industry evolve, the technology evolve. I'm sure there have been incidents you've seen throughout the industry. Would love to hear from you if there's any memorable incidents or any kind of unique challenges that you've experienced over the past couple of years as node operators, how you overcame those challenges and made changes to your team or processes to become better teams as a result of that.
Yeah, I think there have been a number of very big changes since we started out as node operators and Chainlink launched on mainnet. I think one big change that I want to point out is how we're handling extreme market conditions and big gas spikes. One example is Black Thursday. Black Thursday, for those who are not familiar, was the first market crash and really big gas spike that we saw as Chainlink node operators. It was a pretty bad situation for us node operators. We were all in war rooms. We were all hands on deck trying to make sure that our nodes were sending out transactions and ultimately making sure that the data feeds were updating. And I think that externally, we did a good job because the data feeds kept updating. But internally, it was not a good situation, and we knew that it was certainly not sustainable. We knew there were going to be more gas spikes in the future, which we were right about. And we could not be all hands on deck for every time that happened. But I think that's in pretty big contrast to how we're handling these situations today. We now see gas spikes of 8,000 gwei across multiple hours, and 8,000 gwei gas price is an insane amount to pay.
NFT drops, man.
Yeah, we kind of hate them, but it's whatever. But our involvement when these situations happen now is we have our on-call engineer just watching our Grafana dashboards and making sure that everything is running as it should be, and occasionally funding the node with more ETH when it's running low. But like that's about it. And I think that's how the situation should be. The Chainlink data feeds need to update no matter what the market conditions are. That means it's supposed to be business as usual for us. So I think we're doing the right thing. And from the node operator side, I think this is mostly due to us node operators maturing. We're planning ahead. We're learning from previous mistakes. We also have a really great node operator community, which has grown stronger over time. We're getting new node operators, like the Node Operator Olympic winners, such as Northwest nodes here. I personally think those are one of the most dedicated node operators we have in our community. And I think we all have a shared vision of Chainlink succeeding, which helps us all work together and make sure that we're all helping each other and yeah, make us prepared for these sort of situations. And then last but not least, the technology has significantly improved since those days. Previously, we were all, on a data feed, we were all submitting transactions on our own. If there were 15 oracles on the data feed, you would have 15 different transactions with individual observations going to the data feed. But now, today, we have OCR, and Lawrence did a good presentation here yesterday about OCR. But the general idea is that the oracles communicate off-chain, they share all the observations together, and submit all of that in a single report on-chain. And you have reduced from 15 transactions down to 1 transaction just to update a data feed. And that's a significant improvement to how we're handling things.
Well said. You have anything to add?
I think you stole all my thunder. Thanks for that. I'm thinking what I could add to it. Now, I think for me, and Zale touched on it, and you touched on it as well, I think the community within Chainlink is just amazing. I mean, normally you'd be kind of competing with each other to be the best node operator, and you still are. But the way the node operators work together and make sure that we're all working for a greater good, right? We're all securing DeFi. We're securing billions and soonly trillions of dollars worth of value. And I think the growth over the past year has basically blown me and I think everyone away. I think the biggest challenge now is the scaling in terms of new chains. So when we started, the first probably 1.5 years, we only had Ethereum. When you run an Ethereum node, after a year, you kind of know how it works. And now we're running Polygon, we're running BSC, we're running Metis. And as we grow in new chains, we're getting new challenges, basically. And adding node operators gives us the opportunity to add more knowledge about those other chains as well. And yeah, that's been an amazing journey so far.
Awesome. Appreciate the insight. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, I think we are really glad to have talented node operators like you folks continuing keeping the network robust and running. Now I want to kind of open it up really for anybody, the next couple questions here. I'd like to hear from everybody, really. One of the questions that I get most often, people come up to me and say, you know, how do I become a good node operator? Like, what does it take? I think there's sometimes a misconception that you just run some server somewhere, you have some node running, you set it, you forget about it, and that's it. Now you're a Chainlink node operator. Obviously, it takes a little bit more than that. So I'd like to, you know, ask you guys what are the misconceptions that you think people have, and flip the question that I get back on you. What makes not just a good but a great node operator? You know, what best practices do you need to put in place to ensure that high uptime, high availability, make sure you're consistently delivering reliable data on chain all the time?
Yeah, as you were saying about the misconceptions, the misconception I had when I read about Chainlink and running a Chainlink node, I thought it would be like you run a program, a service, deploy it in the cloud, that's it, you have passive income. But it's obviously not that easy. As we're talking about the extreme market conditions, you're going to have to deal with how to handle those sort of situations. You're going to have to know how you're going to recover if something happens. If your node stops reporting, like how do you figure out what is wrong? How do you fix that? And that requires certain knowledge and time and resources. You're going to need 24/7 on-call to manage this. Blockchains, there are a lot of different blockchains. Each of them have different quirks. With Ethereum, we had the merge recently. You're going to have to stay on top.
Flawless.
Yeah. It was flawless for us, but it required a lot of preparation and research and knowing how that would impact us. And Ethereum is only one blockchain. Now imagine you're on 10 different blockchains. You're now going to have 10 different blockchains with each of these sort of events that you're going to have to be aware of and be familiar with. You're also dealing with data providers. You're going to have to talk to them, get good deals to get access to that data. You also have to do finances. You have to pay taxes. It's going to require a lot of business and finance resources. And in the end, you're running a business. You're going to have to hire people, hire good people that can fill all of these roles. And yeah, you're running a business. You're definitely not getting passive income. It's very much active income.
Yeah, so adding on to that, what we are trying to focus on with our team on the technical side is decentralization. So we are using telecom infrastructure, and also, for instance, on the Ethereum side, we are aiming towards using a variety of clients, also aiming to use minority clients. Then maybe to give a little bit of an insight into the corporate kind of world that we have to deal with, because I mean we have this blockchain team, but we also have very specialized other units within the telecom that are all doing things like legal, like buying departments, finance departments, and I mean within the blockchain team, everybody knows crypto stuff, but when you go above, then it becomes also sometimes like an educational job within the company, which is not easy always, but I think we are at a point where now also like our legal side and those people are being quite educated in the space, which is also now spreading within the company even further. So yeah, handing over to you, Peter.
Thank you. Yeah, I think for us, the most important thing is automation. We know that in 5 years from now, we're probably going to run on maybe 200, 300,000 chains. You can't get there without automation. Automation on our end is kind of simple. The problem is release management across all the networks. Every network has its own Git repo, has its own release management. Some networks just announce something in Discord and expect you to see it in the middle of the night. Some networks have an actual good process. Working with those projects and together with Chainlink to improve upon those processes is, I think, what makes you become a good knob, because you can get ahead of the game. As soon as you know what you can expect and you act accordingly, that means you can also inform Chainlink when things are going to happen and inform the other node operators that things are going to happen. And I think you touched on it with the tax and the rules and the business subject. I was kind of intrigued by what Eric Smith said yesterday. We've been looking for a lot of guidance from like governments and tax and everything, and I think we're going to follow his advice and just don't look for governance, because you can spend a whole lot of time on thinking how you should handle things, but ultimately we're here to just make the world a better thing, and I think we should focus on that and fix governance whenever that comes.
Oh, this is definitely a very interesting question, especially coming from Infura. I think all developers start from running a single node, and at such point, when you've surpassed those scaling requirements, you have to start thinking about custom solutions of how to scale your architecture to meet those demands. And Infura, I think, has been put in an unwitting position of now owning about 50% of the network on Ethereum. And that's just on Ethereum alone. And I agree with a lot of the panelists here that it is, at some point, you have to run it like a business. It's not just running one node. And so at Infura, I think one of the most important things for us as a market leader is education and giving back and making sure that we're sharing with the community, making sure that we're making transparent our architecture. And we think quite a bit, obviously, about how to scale our operations. Very frequently, I think of what we do more like traditional DevOps and traditional software engineering than Web3. We use a lot of the same kind of methods, right, in traditional DevOps, like microservices, CI/CD orchestration, in order to be able to scale operations. So we mentioned Black Thursday earlier, I think, Jonas. I think whenever there is downtime at Infura, it is Black Thursday. Because it involves a whole host of people from legal, marketing, comms, and that's something that I think as someone, I think as a company that started as one single node, that proliferated to multiple different nodes, that's one of the things that we had to kind of think about. So some of the things that, like I'm sure you've experienced if you're a node operator, is when you upgrade software, versions of client software, very often it breaks 10 other things. So we have to put teams in place, pager duty, 24 hours, they have to be on call. And all of that takes a certain level of business savvy and business operations. So a lot of it, I think, is being run as a business. Yeah,
I agree. I think one of the things why I'm really excited about ConsenSys if you're joining Chainlink is you've had so much experience with scaling already that we can all benefit from. I'm really excited to have you in our Slack channel and being able to talk to you guys, or at least the tech guys. I'm assuming you're not doing the CI/CD yourself.
No. Not answering the pager duty.
No, okay. But yeah, that's going to be amazing because I think we all need to work together on specifically that, and especially as we grow. We in the old days we could manage with 2 Ethereum nodes. Now we got 10 or 20, I don't know. And especially scaling horizontally within a network is a pretty specialized thing that I think you really know everything about. So really happy to see you share that information back into our community.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Some of the hardest things is you can't project growth, you can't project traffic, right? So bursts of demand come, like CryptoKitties or Black Thursday, or as we call it, every time we go downtime, it's a Black Thursday. So I think some of what we've done internally is adopt a model, a mental model called team topology. We organize our engineers and support teams according to squads. And within these squads, we are able to meet temporal demands a lot better without feeling like we have to build permanent teams. So that's some of the things that we are trying internally to make sure that we maintain as high an uptime as possible to maintain service, because every time we go down, every time there's an outage, it's a significant impact on the industry.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would echo all of your guys' comments, but I think what it really comes down to is a lot of organizational and technical redundancy, where there's a lot of moving parts that go into a Chainlink node and into a decentralized Oracle network. And so you need to make sure that you're redundant from the data level to your tech stack, to your monitoring, to your blockchain nodes, and really even to your human resources, where you make sure that if someone's not able to get to the call, that it's going to be monitored and managed. And so, if we can be redundant as an individual node, then our Oracle network can be even more redundant, and then the Chainlink network itself has an extremely high level of redundancy, and that's what allows it to maintain this incredible uptime, this incredible data availability over years. And so for us, that's kind of the model that we've come to know and understand, and so that's how we try and focus our organization.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for the very thoughtful answers. Really good getting that insight into how these organizations run. I have kind of now just a fun question, hopefully. The industry is moving so fast. Like every year, every month, every week, there's a new development. Technology is evolving. The Chainlink protocol is evolving. I think even at this conference, we had a number of very exciting announcements. So I'm curious, just to hear from all of you, what is it about the future that excites you? Future about Web3, future about blockchain, future about Chainlink. A lot of exciting stuff on the horizon. What's exciting you?
Staking, of course. I mean, very excited about the increased security that's going to bring us and the added revenue streams. But I think everyone is excited about that. But there are also other things to be excited about. Chainlink has a lot more products than just data feeds. We have Chainlink automation, previously known as keepers, VRF. I think both of those are going to be very important for all Web3 projects. Going back to data feeds, I think they're mostly used for price data right now, but data feeds are much more than just price data. You have insurance and proof of reserve. We've seen proof of reserve of Bitcoin, proof of reserve of stablecoins. I think that we're moving to a future where you're going to depend more on proof of reserve. The stablecoins you're going to use are the stablecoins that are using proof of reserve. And it's going to be, just much more important in the future, not just for DeFi, but for all of Web3. And that's the things I'm excited about. I think everyone here should be excited about these things.
Sure. Yeah, also staking, of course, and it's probably going to go around, but then adding to that, adding to the data feed topic, of course, for the future, I don't know how Deutsche Telekom can provide data in this whole Chainlink ecosystem, but of course maybe there are some telco-specific data cases that become relevant in Web3, and of course we are looking very much to support there as well.
I think for us, scale is something that was announced yesterday. Is really something we're looking forward to. It's going to be a good opportunity to even grow more on different chains.
A scale program, right?
Scale program, yes. Obviously staking and security breaks, let's just put it out there again. I think on the tech side, I'm really excited about OCR 2.0. OCR was such an incredible improvement compared to like Flux Monitor and Direct Request. OCR 2.0, Lawrence gave a great talk about it yesterday, is going to be even better, basically. And kind of the iterations that Chainlink has made on the technical side have been so amazing that I can't wait for like OCR 4. It's going to need a different name, I think, because we had a new name every iteration except for an OCR. But there's still a lot to improve. And I'm keen to see what Chainlink's going to come up with this time.
Cool. As of yesterday, I've been very excited about staking as well. 2 weeks ago at ETH Berlin, Infura actually launched an announcement that we're gonna launch a decentralized infrastructure network. So that makes us very, very excited, both internally, externally, in the community, because this has been a long time coming. Our vision from the very beginning was always to support and advance the ecosystem. We've been working on it for the last 18 months, but we couldn't say anything, so I'm really excited I'm allowed to say this. So I'm very excited about progressively moving towards decentralized infrastructure. It really, I think to us, is super important to maintain that 100% uptime promise, to make sure that we have checks and balances in the ecosystem, and that's what Web3 is about. So that's something that we are super excited about. But also working with Chainlink, I think, and adopting some of your best practices in decentralization, I think will help us become a lot better. Right now, there are about 27 to 28 million developers in the world, and less than 1% build on Web3. So what can we do as leaders, right, in the industry to make sure we push for user adoption? And the only way to do that, we believe, is to build a collaborative ecosystem and to have mind share. And so that's what we're very excited about, to have more people join the ecosystem.
Yeah, For me, it's going into all these new use cases that we're starting to see, and I think that one thing that is kind of slept on a little bit is just the combination of not only scaling of blockchains and of RPC providers, but the combination of scaling and privacy, which allows for all these use cases that were dreamt up in 2018 and so early on that just weren't able to fully be realized. And for us, watching SmartCon last year, when they announced things like the fair sequencing services and DECO and CCIP, for us it just became apparent that a lot of these ideas that seemed like they might be limited and maybe they were 5 or 10 years out, but it's going to happen, and it could happen very soon. So all these things are very exciting because they're solving real-world problems. So we're able to connect different systems together. We're going to see all these new interesting projects. One like climate data, for example, where there's projects like Hyphen that are going to be able to potentially crack this problem that was incredibly difficult to solve before. But also, fair sequencing services, again, right, where we're going to be able to solve the MEV problem. And these are things that regulators don't like necessarily, and a lot of people are unsure about, and they don't know how to handle it or tackle it. But if you can overcome those barriers, and I think that's really what Chainlink is about, is overcoming some of the barriers of adoption and technical use, and it just opens up all these new use cases. And that's what really excites me about the future, is to think that, especially when we look at something unique and interesting like space and time that just came out, right? Where the next big use case for Chainlink might be something that no one's even thought of yet. Like, like it might come in the hackathon right after this, and we'll be here next year all going, of course that was going to be the thing. Like, it makes so much sense, right? So to me, that's what's really exciting about being in this industry and in Chainlink specifically.
Awesome. You guys all said it better than I could have, so thank you. Yeah, so exactly as you all said, I think there are so many exciting things to look forward to in the future. We're still in a nascent industry. There's a lot of room to grow. Node operators like you folks are the underpinnings of these eventual applications that are going to be made, the applications that exist right now, these end-to-end trust-minimized applications. And as the use cases grow, as the industry evolves, I think the role of node operators are going to continue to become more and more critical. So with that, just want to thank you all for joining us today. I hope everybody's found this fun and informative. And thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of the conference.